November 14. 332 B.C. Era of the accession of Alexander the Great to the Persian rule. 565. Justinian I, Emperor of Rome, died. He built Saint Sophia's church at Constantinople, and reduced the Roman laws into a code, which was called the Digests or Pandects. 1318. The greatest earthquake ever known in England. 1524. Francisco Pizarro sailed from Panama for the conquest of Peru. Diego to Almagro, and Hernando de Luque, a priest, associated with him under bonds and oaths, for mutual protection. This expedition was a failure. They were repulsed and compelled to leave the country. More than 6 years afterwards the attempt was renewed, with success. 1556. John de la Casa, an Italian writer, died. Besides some beautiful Italian poems, he wrote the lives of cardinals Contarini and Bembo, and various other works. 1574. An aurora borealis appeared in England. 1672. Francis de la Boe Sylvius, an eminent Dutch physician, died. He was professor of medicine at Leiden, where he ably demonstrated the truth of Harvey's discovery of the circulation of the blood. 1690. Captain James Campbell, brother of the Duke of Argyll, with the assistance of Sir J. Johnstone, seized a rich heiress and married her, for which Johnstone was afterwards hung and Campbell divorced. 1716. Godfrey Wilhelm Leibniz, a German philosopher, died. He had in his life the singular felicity of being esteemed the greatest and most learned man in Europe. 1736. George Sale, a learned Englishman, died. He was well skilled in Oriental literature, and contributed much to the completion of the universal history, but his chief work is a translation of the Quran. 1770. Bruce discovered the sources of the mighty Nile. 1785. A Chebec with 19 men and 23 passengers, passing from Majorca to Ivica, was attacked by an Algerine pink, and boarded by about 100 men, in spite of the firing of 2 cannon and the musketry. A bloody engagement ensued, in which all the Moors but 6 or 7 were killed. These were assaulted by a volley of hail shot, which fired some powder casks, and blew up the vessel, destroying all on board but the captain and 3 passengers, who got to Ivica in a boat, badly wounded. 1800. Marquis de Bouillé, a celebrated French general, died. During the American War he served with credit in the West Indies, but being opposed to the enormities of the French Revolution he was compelled to seek an asylum in England. 1804. Jacob Bryant, an English philologist and antiquary, died. He was a learned and indefatigable writer, but fond of paradox. 1809. Bonaparte was congratulated on his return from Austria, by the public bodies of Paris, as the greatest of heroes, who ever achieved victories but for the happiness of the world. 1809. Frederick Morton Eden, an English diplomatist and writer on political economy, died. 1812. Battle of Smolny. The French under Victor and Oudinot defeated by the Russians under Wittgenstein, with the loss of 1,500 dead on the field, and 800 prisoners. Russian loss 1,000. 1825. Jean-Paul Friedrich Richter, a German writer of the first rank in Bell's Letters, died. He is known as Jean-Paul among our Germans, and his numerous works are held in very high repute. 1827. Thomas Addis Emmet, an eminent Irish lawyer, died in New York, aged 63. 1828. André Joseph Abril died, a French statesman under Napoleon and his successor. 1831. George William Friedrich Hegel, the distinguished German philosopher, died by cholera at Berlin. His philosophy partakes of much of German mysticism. 1832. Charles Abbot, Lord Tenterden, died, aged 70. He was the son of a London hairdresser, who by great application became one of the most learned jurists of England. 1832. Charles Carroll died, aged 96. The last of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. He studied the law in France and England, and returned to America at the age of 27, where he was soon known as an advocate for liberty, and as one of the best political writers in Maryland. He quitted public life in 1810. 1835. James Freeman, pastor of the Stone Chapel Society, in Boston, died. He was chosen pastor of the Episcopal Society that worshipped there in 1783. Having rejected the Trinitarian doctrine, the greater part of his hearers responded to his sentiments and resolved to alter their liturgy and retain their minister. Thus did the First Episcopal Church in New England become the first Unitarian Church in the New World. He was a man of talent and learning, and one of the founders of the Massachusetts Historical Society. 1840. John A. G. Davis, professor of law in the University of Virginia, died of a pistol shot discharged by a disguised student. Intellect, of untiring industry, of amiable and philanthropic character, he published a valuable treatise on criminal law. 1840. Zachariah Lewis, senior vice president of the American Bible Society, died at Brooklyn, New York. He was educated for the ministry, and was for 17 years editor of the Commercial Advertiser and New York Spectator. 1855. Tobias Watkins died at Washington, aged 75. He was a physician by education, had contributed largely to the public press, and figured as a politician.